Hello viewers, today I'm going to talk about this model aircraft that I made recently. This is kind of an experimental content that I try to make. I usually post pictures, videos, stop motion animations of my airplanes models, but I seldom talk about it, and that's exactly what I want to do in this video. The aircraft you see is a 1 to 500 scale paper model of the Airbus Flight Lab, which is a modified A340-300 aircraft. Registration Foxtrot Whiskey Alpha India. I came across this aircraft online and I found this very interesting and very unique, and I said to myself I want this model. I did some Google search and I thought no one had made a model of it. By the way, later I found out on Instagram and someone sent me an image of someone custom make a model of this exact aircraft. So at least someone have made it in 1 to 400 scale, I believe, but still this is a very unique aircraft and it is very rare in model form. So to make this aircraft, I use an existing template that I created earlier. So what I did is just modify its wings and put the paint scheme delivery onto the templates and have it tested and printed. The paint scheme isn't particularly challenging, except for the tail, because there are many tones of blue on the Airbus house livery, and also the wings, there are area of silvery gray, green and orange colors all over the place, so it's a bit difficult to track down the exact color patterns. Apart from that, it is quite straightforward. Oh, another thing is that the fairing on the wings, I think that's between the existing wing and the new wings, and also at the end of the wing, which is kind of a unique feature of this aircraft. So let's talk a bit about the aircraft. I don't consider myself expert, but this aircraft has some fascinating history. The real Foxtrot Whiskey Alpha India is an Airbus A340-300 prototype. It was the first ever A340 to took to the sky back in 1991. Over the years, Airbus has used it as a testbed for later aircraft technology, such as the Rolls-Royce 900 engines for the A380 and a composite patch on the fuselage for the A350 projects. Then in 2017-18, Airbus used it as a platform to test laminar flow technology on the wings construction of aircraft. Changes that can be seen externally include cutting off the wings beyond the outlying engines, and then replace it with a new carbon fiber metal wings. The basic idea in layman's term is to create an ultra smooth layer of air surrounding the wings in order to reduce drag. The wings have a smooth surface with around 20 degrees wing sweep instead of the 30 degrees found on the rest of the wings. The test result was quite successful with some criteria expectation. Further testing and modification was planned, including the moving flaps, but the progress was delayed due to COVID. So let's talk about the end result. This lovely model that I've got. I mean, overall, I think I'm quite happy with it. I mean, you can't bought it off the shelf, but I have one sitting here. I think I spent 2 days assembling it and 2 or 3 days to like draw the templates and do the testing and all that. But in terms of the quality, there are some issues that I'm not particularly happy about. First of all is the large seams. The joints of the different parts of the aircraft, they are quite pronounced. I think part of the problem is because I tested templates and the model in typical paper, which is I think 80 gram per square meter, but this particular aircraft is made by paper of 250 grams per square meter, so it is quite a thick paper, and I think that's part of the issue. They're making that the different parts isn't joining together properly. which is a shame because like you can see there's almost no seams in this Embraer model, which I mean there are seams, but it is quite invisible. But I don't know, I kind of lost the ability to do that, or I just lost the patience to work on details like that, which is a shame. Another noticeable thing is there's like no glue marks in this plane, which is okay, contrast to the new plane, because like can you see the glue marks? Yeah, that's everywhere, especially on the bottom side. And oops, do you see the glue there? So this is some quality issues. Oh, another thing is the color. I think the Airbus logo looks a bit off. I think it's mostly because of the base color. I think this blue isn't white, making all the blues looks a bit off. But the rest of the livery, I think is okay. The font use is okay. I think the font is kind of a make or break elements of delivery, because every airlines use different fonts, and it's kind of the corporate identity. When the font is different, it's very obvious. But I think this is alright in this aircraft. Another problem is I think the printer isn't working as well as I'm hoping. You can see in the aircraft there's the different companies responsible for the aircraft. All the company names print here, but now it's kind of reduced to a couple of gray dots. The printer isn't working that well. Same issue could be found on the logo on the engine. There are CFM logos on the engines, but it isn't printing that well. So that's an issue. And also the engine fan blade. I did draw the fan blades, but it isn't that visible. And also in the rear of the aircraft, there's an A350 logo here. I mean, you can barely see A350, but then the XWB logo and the rest of it is gone. So it is a shame because I spent all the effort to draw it on the computer, but it isn't printing. But anyway, I mean, relatively minor details and doesn't really affect much of the overall experience, at least in my opinion. And about the wings, I don't really have a data of the wingspan of the wheel thing after the modification. So what I only know is that this is a 20-degree, so that I kind of follow this 20 degrees alignment just outside engine 1 and 4. And I roughly keep the same wingspan, overall wingspan, so I come up with this proportion, which I think looks alright. So the fairings, the two fairings is not perfect, but I guess it conveys the idea that it is a fairing, and I'm happy with that. So what else can I talk about? Oh, one of the benefit of paper model is cheap. I mean, this doesn't cost a lot. Also, it is quite durable. You can drop it to survive. And how about accuracy? Well, I assume this die-cast model of this Cathay Pacific One World A340 300. I have to assume it's correct, and let me put it side by side. Now, in terms of the tail, my model is a bit taller, so I guess the main landing gear is a bit taller than the real aircraft. But on the nose, it look quite good. The same height and the shape is roughly the same. So And also in terms of the wings, I guess the wings of my aircraft maybe is a bit taller, but I mean I can say that it is because of the wing flaps. I think it does happen from time to time, depending on the different stages of flight. So that's it. This is the review. Is it a review? Well, I mean, I think it's more like some thoughts that I have to my aircraft models. So these are my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments, welcome to comments below and leave a like. And I'll see you next time. Bye.